Greetings, Health Warriors. Welcome to the Health Freedom Show, where we share tips, tricks, and real-world strategies on how to get healthy, stay healthy, and live the life you were meant to live. This evening's show is super special. We have an interview with Mr. John Matuz. John is the host of the Better Man Show, where he's documenting his journey to become the best version of himself. And John recently achieved some amazing results in his health, fitness, and weight loss goals. And he did it in a short amount of time, actually utilizing our 21-day reset. And John's come on the show to share his experience and motivate others to do the same. So welcome to the show, John.
All right, thanks, Al. Thanks for everything. And yeah, you were my coach number one on my show. And you're actually the person that motivated me to start the show.
Yes.
And
why did you start the show, John?
Well, so, I always can kind of consider myself an athletic guy, an active guy. And one night I was coaching my daughter's middle school volleyball team, and we were short a couple of kids. So I jumped out there to play, and I was not the athlete that I thought I still was. Right. And it like hurt my soul. I mean, it really did. I mean, you're one of like the 4 people I called on the way home from practice that night to just, I felt like, I something that was wrong. Like I failed. And every one of you guys said, look, man, we can get you back to being, the old John Matuz, just follow our footsteps. And I mean, not one of those coaches, I called my football coaches, my wrestling coaches, boxing coach, a bodybuilder that I know, and I called you, and every one of you stepped up and said, hey, man, you just tell us when you want to go and we'll go. And I decided to go with you first because I've known you the longest. I mean, we've known each other since high school. And the program you put me on was a lot easier than people would think. But man, I got results like you couldn't believe.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And one of the things that's cool about John too is that he's he's a high level executive, basically, sales executive, and a lot of responsibilities and super busy. Like he has a lot of weight on his shoulders at his job, and he has he's had a child later in life that he's working with to make her be the best person that she could be, and so volleyball games, like he said, and everything else under the sun. And then he's also doing a bunch of adventures as well. So if anybody could achieve goals, then if he could do it, then anybody could do it, I feel.
Yeah, and I never really looked at myself that way until we started this, and you were talking to me, and we had the show, and people are going, wow, I can't believe, you work all these hours every day, you coach your daughter, you go on, these whitewater rafting trips, you body surf, you cycle, you kayak, you do all these things. And I was thinking, wow, I kind of do a lot of stuff, and I get a lot in every day. And so, like you said, if I could jam it into my schedule along with work, because I mean, I'm up at 5 and going at it hard at 5 a.m. So if I can fit it in my schedule, anyone can.
Yeah, for sure. And just like for some of the the results that you got, like people are wondering about that. Like I know you lost several inches in your waist and weight, obviously.
Yeah, so we started the program off with Al, and he has a 21-day reset program, and it's basically focusing just only on eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, no meat, no alcohol, none of that stuff. And it's a 21-day program. And I'm telling you, it's only 21 days. I mean, you could stand on your head for 21 days if you had to, right? And when that 21 days, I lost 4 inches on my waist. I didn't lose any strength in the weight room. I was still, lifting as much weight as I was prior to that. That was the one thing that I was kind of worried about. And none of that changed, but my energy levels went up. People were noticing, hey, gosh, man, you look different. You look younger. I can wear anything in my closet now. For a while there, I had like about 20% of my closet that I could wear. And now I can wear anything I want, because of the program that went without it. It just took less than a month. So, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anyone can.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why the tagline for it is just 21 days can change your life. Because it's the next best thing to if I could just be there, we can get you, pretty close to it in just 21 days. You can't be at a snap of a finger, and there is a little bit of effort. But what about the effort? Was it very hard to do?
Well, at first I was kind of not intimidated, but I was thinking, oh God, this is going to suck. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, there's a Mexican restaurant in Pico Rivera and my name's on the menu for the carnitas platter. So I like to eat that kind of stuff. Right. So I was just thinking, oh man, this is going to be terrible. I'm going to just have to eat nuts and twigs and stuff for 21 days. But you know what? It was easy. The food was actually great. And I've got no problem. Sometimes I'll just do it. I'll say, oh, look, I'm going to do that 21-day program for 3 days in a row, and I just do it and it works great. And I get myself back together. It was not hard at all. In fact, you think progressively it's going to get more difficult. By the time I was on my third week, there was a fast day and I said, screw it. I'm just going to fast for 2 days, because that's how good I feel. You feel like, like you feel light glowing out of your body. It's weird, man. It's transformational. And we did this like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, and I still feel great. And I still haven't, gone back to my evil ways. I'm still, living life the way I should. And I'm still, hitting those goals that we set on my show to hit. And so, I mean, everything's still on track. And that's why I'm glad I used Al as the base. I mean, he was going to be the base of my, pyramid to get to where I want to be. And I knew that Al was the guy that I had to work with to get there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's why that program is called the 21-day reset too, because it like resets and reformats your internal hard drive, like putting the disk clean back in the old days with the tower computers, and so it's super, super awesome stuff. And I remember recently when I was talking to you on the phone, or actually when in your podcast, I was listening to your podcast, and you were saying that you looked at a picture from like a year or two ago, and what compared to now, it's like two different people.
Yeah, it was. I have this. I've got this license that I have for something I do, and so I have to renew it every 2 years. So I had the one that just expired, and then I got my new one, and I had to show them my old one to get it. And the lady's like, "Wow, that's amazing." And I looked down, I was like, "Holy crap, it is amazing. That doesn't even look like me." And so, yeah, I mean, it's huge changes for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you were able to keep some habits too, right? Because you were mentioning before the show that you're like doing smoothies and stuff like that still daily, and you know.
Oh yeah, that's what I have for every morning. That's how I start my days, with the smoothie. And I know that during the day, if I have to go anywhere, I live in Southern California, so instead of like swinging by and grabbing a Big Mac or something, I can swing by and grab a smoothie at a good store, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, there's no way I don't have to stick to the program. I mean, if I go off the program, it's because I made a choice to do that, not because I had to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. California, especially Southern California, is awesome for that. Like there's almost like a juice shop on every corner. It's and even inside stores, like you said, it's crazy. But yeah, it's really is amazing to me that you were able to get through that thing like with your schedule and stuff. Because like you travel and like you have to go on the job sites, and you're not just sitting at a desk. You go through it every day. And if you're not flying, then you're driving like hours sometimes just to make sure a job site is correct. And it's nuts. And like stress. I mean. John's sort of a little bit humble, but like he's dealing with like government contracts, school districts, and those are his clients, So like it's a heavy duty stress on top of everything else, and changing from the standard diet that he had to the plant based is a big deal. But the one thing to remember about it is that it is a program that you're on and off of. It's not something. It's not your it's something that's not your diet for the rest of your life or anything. It's just meant to come in and make a change. So, let's see, do we have John? John, I think we lost John for a minute.
Yeah, you kind of paused on me, but yeah, you were talking about the government contracts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then I paused over here too, but yeah, anyways, yeah, we're just really excited about the success that you had and everything, and one of the things that you had mentioned that you really loved about it was like I know you love the CBD and the MSM. You've been taking that for years. Like John said, he's known me for since high school, and we're old. We're 58 years old, and so like 40 years. and he's been taking like the MSM and the CBD, since we've had it basically, and so he really enjoys that. But there's the Shilajit that we've been taking, right? And it's awesome stuff. It's always been a hassle, but I made a new version of it, that's sort of not available on the open market, that makes it much easier to take. And you've been trying that out, and you wanted to say some stuff about that, right? Or
Yeah, it's
even
great.
ask me some questions.
Yeah, because we kind of were taking that a long time ago. I remember, like, I don't know this because my grandfather passed away, like, I don't know, like 14 years ago, and he was taking your powder form, and
Mm-hmm.
he loved it, man. He would put it in his coffee every morning, and every time he'd run out, he'd say, "Hey, go get me some more of that dirt, man." That's what he called it, right? It was just like powder form Shilajit. And so, we've been using that stuff for a long time. And then when we started the 21-day reset, you sent some more out to me, and it was like in a paste form, which was cool. I mean, I kind of like scooping it out and watching it dissolve in my little tea in the morning, but it's kind of a hassle, right? You never know if you're getting the right quantity, or sometimes the lid kind of gets welded on there, and you just never know, right? And it's like this really pasty thing, and it changes shape and form, with the temperature and that kind of stuff. But man, this new tincture that you came up with is it's so easy to use. I mean, it's one thing about you is like everything that you have. One, you research the heck out of it, and two, you take away all the excuses of why somebody can't use it, right? I mean, who can't squirt a little of this stuff in their water or in their mouth? I mean, it's great stuff.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it solves the biggest problem with it with Shilajit, which is being able to get it out of the jar, and then number getting an exact measured dose as well. Knowing how much you're taking. Those are some of the biggest complaints that people have, and it solves those. Super awesome, and keeps the purity and quality too. The way we develop the formulation.
Right. The thing I like about the whole Shilajit thing, it's kind of like honey, right? I mean, you just get honey from the bees and you eat it, right? This stuff comes and it's just from God, from nature, whatever, and it's good to go. There's no extra ingredients, there's no nothing. It's just it is what it is, right? And I also like the whole history about it. So, I know that I'll screw it up. So why don't you tell us like kind of where it came from, who used it in the past, how they harvest it. I mean, all that stuff is awesome. I love those kinds of stories.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Shilajit is they call it like a mineral pitch, and there throughout the world there's different mineral pitches. The Shilajit is becoming sort of popular, so they like to call their stuff Shilajit, but it isn't. It only comes from the Himalayas, like India, Pakistan, that kind of area. And so it's but minerals basically they're the essential like nutrients of life, like the elemental table that you see in chemistry class in high school or whatever. Those were basically all minerals. So they're very important, and they're lacking in today's world. And like mitochondrial function, which is important for energy, for staving off cancer, all kinds of different things. Minerals are like a huge part of that. And being able to get like all 85 minerals, trace elements, everything is hard. And Shilajit has all of them, in there, and also has this stuff called fulvic acid and humic acid, which makes it almost 100% bioavailable, right? Meaning that your body could absorb 100% of it, and it's super super awesome. And like we said, it gives you energy, and the Hindu masters actually say that it gives you life force energy, right? And that's because of the fulvic acid and humic acid that make it 100% absorbable, basically. But yeah, it's what it is it's plant matter that's been compressed, like it's up in the high elevations of the Himalayas. Ours is extracted at 18,000 feet, so it's above pollution and all that kind of stuff. So it's as pure as can be. But it's compressed plant matter that's been been going through a process for hundreds, even thousands of years, and it develops into this like sticky resin. And like at different times of the year, it'll actually ooze out of the rocks in these certain areas of the Himalayas, and you could harvest it with water because it's water soluble. And so there's these old age ways of doing it through water harvesting and sun drying. Like having it dried with the sun and the water evaporated off, and no heat, no chemicals, which is the modern day processes use heat and chemicals to get more out of it and get it to market quicker and stuff like that. So I found a guy that he owns the one of the largest producers for actual Pakistan, like the people in Pakistan. He's like, I think he's the number one supplier for the people of Pakistan, and it's like a religion to them. So
Right.
if they're buying from him, then it was like, hey. So I went to him and I interviewed him for a long time, and he does it the right way. And he's like, you have to be granted the right to get these certain elevations. There's a czar of Shilajit that controls all of it in the world. And so you can't like buy your way into like, I want to be at this elevation. You have to like get granted the privilege to actually be able to extract in these areas. And so and like 18,000 and above is like that's it, and that's where the purest and what they call a gold grade Shilajit comes from. There's actually 4 different kinds. And he does it that old school process. Like it's a family kind of a deal, and they've been doing it for generations. They've been extracting, and they've been granted the privilege to rise up through the years, through the decades, and finally get there. Like when I first was talking to him, he was at 16,000 feet. Now he's at 18,000. Right. So super awesome. As far as the purity and quality, because they use those old school methods of water harvesting and then drying in the sun, and then they'll go through that process several times sometimes if they think they need to, but it's literally a water and sun purification process, no, like almost zero processing,
Right.
and then our Shilajit, what I call Shilajit elixir, is just a tincture made from that. Right. And,
Right.
and it's a water-based tincture with this activated water. It's a crystal activated water, so it's basically a structured water that your body could absorb better. It could actually pull in the Shilajit and make it part of the water better, so it becomes one. And then when you take it in, it absorbs into your body better because what the Shilajit is in is structured. It's just like crazy, off the charts, awesome as far as the ease of use, the convenience, being able to get an exact measured dose, and then the absorbability is even greater than the regular Shilajit, which is off the charts by itself, right?
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know if everybody watching this knows you and about how you research things and the way that you package things and just all the processes you go through and why you go through them. But, for people that don't know, Al, almost lost his eye. He actually did lose his eyesight, and he got it back through the use of, all the nutrition and all the CBD and everything else that he works with. And he has to do it perfectly every time or he loses his eyesight. And that's how he does everything. I mean, his CBD, his Shilajit, the MSM, everything that he provides to his people, right, is top notch. And you just got to realize that everything that he does is way above anybody else. Because I remember when you came out with your CBD, but then, everybody and their grandmother was making it in their backyard, and hippies were doing it in their garage and everything else. And they weren't following any of the steps that are like a religion, like holy to you. Right. And so and I remember you just being just so upset and like, man, these people aren't getting it. But thank God, you've helped so many people with what you do because your stuff is so great. And, anyone that gets anything from you has got to know that it's the best you can get in the whole world. So yeah, I can't wait for people to start taking your product.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Thank you for that, John. I do appreciate that. But it is super exciting, because to get this, because it took over 20 years to find this source, right, of the Shilajit, and it's a big deal to be able to get it, over here, and because they have, there's limited supplies of all this stuff, et cetera, because it is a gold grade Shilajit, harvested at certain elevations and things like that, and then the sun dried, it's all a long process. Like, so from the time I order it to the time it gets here, it's like at least 60 days. It's like a huge, thoughtful process. But like I said, it took me over 20 years to find this person. And when I originally, got into it back in the early 2000s, because I didn't just like, oh yeah, find Shilajit, searching on the internet or something. I found Shilajit before Google existed, right?
Right.
In the early 2000s. And it was like this sacred stuff, from these Ayurvedic guys, these master guys that used to hang out at this place called the Living Temple in Huntington Beach. And it was like, when those guys came into town, they hung out there, and there was always events going on there, and we'd pick up our stuff, and back then it was just like it was gold, more, worth more than gold to us. So we'd take it and it run out, and then finally they come back, we get some more, and then we lost track of them because the Living Temple ended up shutting down, whatever, And then I was out it for a little bit, and then I found another source. My friend Robert, they started getting had Ultimate Superfoods, and like huge, just a it turned into a huge company, and it was able to get like these sources from India that were just super badass. We had that for a while, and then that sort of broke apart, and then they moved to Argentina and all this crazy stuff, and I lost that. And then I don't know if you remember the sea minerals we were doing for a while.
Oh yeah,
because like those were super pristine, but not quite as good as the Shilajit, but I didn't have a source, because I have access to it, obviously, because I could access anything, because I've been sourcing stuff since the early 90s. But I couldn't find one that I could put my name behind. My Fit Life is sacred to me. So I only put my that name on things that are just like the ultimate best quality and purity, because that's what I take, right? And then I finally found this guy, and because the sea minerals I would have just ran with, but that guy ended up getting all kinds of gastrointestinal problems, and the guy that ran that one, and like I lost him, so, and then thank God I found this guy, and it was just like a sort of almost like a last ditch effort, and he just embraced me, and I told him what I was doing, and he's the same thought process, as far as quality and purity. And it's like I said, it's sacred to them over there, and it's sacred to his family, because it's generational extractors,
right.
like it's no joke to them. And that's who I want on board, as far as suppliers of the raw materials. And then nobody in the world, does a tincture of Shilajit, the way we do. And there is not one, there's zero in the world besides ours that are formulated in the United States.
Right.
Under our standards, under our best practices, and especially with our crystal activated water and stuff like that. The things that we do,
Sure.
or literally the water is not only like ultra purified to where there's like zero dissolved solids and all kind of stuff in there, like no fluoride, etc., anything like that. But it sits in crystals in these glass containers, and gets crystal activated and structured, so your body can absorb it fully and make use of it. It's just so super awesome that the whole process that it goes through, by the time it gets to the person. And we've had amazing, feedback from it, from you on down, So, but you have tried both. What, like, and you sort of mentioned it, but like, how do you feel, because they're both the same quality, right? But like, as far as like, if you had to pick one over the other.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried all three forms. I've tried powder, the paste, and then also the tincture. Tincture for me, because I'm like you said, I'm a busy guy. I just, when I'm running out the door, squirt that out of my mouth, throw a couple of CBD tablets down my throat, drink my smoothie with my green and my blue algae, and I'm out the door, right? So it works great. But I it's the way I prefer, right? It's just easy. And you can't, the measurements are always the same. You don't have to worry about, dissolving it or trying to scrape it out with that little spoon or finding that spoon. My daughter uses it for all kinds of arts and crafts things, it's just the best. But going back to my grandfather, I just want to say one more story about him, is that when you were at him and he was taking your CBD and your Shilajit, and he was the oldest like heart surgery patient that Long Beach Hospital, which is a heart surgery deal, would take. and they did it because he was so healthy, and you got him that way. I mean, with the stuff you gave him and the workout regimen you put him on, he was able to get to the point where they were able to do all these things for him. And he got probably 4 more years out of that. And the doctor was like, man, we're not going to work on a 92-year-old man. And, but they did, because he was healthy, and he was like, oh, well, this guy's going to be around for a while, man. Let's do it. So, and you've done that for thousands of people, and people need to understand that you could be one of those kind of guys that's making videos saying, hey, check out my Lamborghini. I'm the richest guy in the world. I'm selling all this crap, but you sell the best stuff. I mean, you have access to anything, any type of CBD, any type of anything, but you get the best, and you only sell the best because you're taking care of people.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I depend on this stuff because if I stop taking my stuff, then I go blind in less than a week. And then I go into migraines daily and everything like that. All the things that I've been able to overcome will come back quickly if I stop taking my stuff. And if the stuff isn't right, if it isn't therapeutically active, not just the highest quality, but like formulated, extracted and formulated in a way that the therapeutic activity of the nutrients isn't degraded, or degraded. It's super important because I take what's off the shelf. And I depend on it. It's like that hair club for men thing from back in the day. I'm a client too, and so I only put the purest and best stuff in my body, whether it's food. How I am with food. Like I don't even buy food from the markets anymore. And I haven't for years. Because fuck that, and so, and there's only a limited amount of things that I'll ingest, and so having things, that's the whole reason we have the company, is because I can't find this stuff anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you started the company, was to take care of your situation, but I mean, you wouldn't let down any of your customers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like,
I mean,
and
that's
then
the
we have
important
like,
thing.
like even, Elisa, like she's, like there's people like that, that we have been, like she actually went to our high school, but she has been a part of the My Fit Live community since 2010, and we love her. And, she got cancer, a couple of years back, and she was, she immediately came over here and, to my Fit Life, and was like, hey, like almost like from the doctor's office of being diagnosed, like drove over and said, hey, what do I take? And she tried a bunch of different things, on the outside, but she stayed true to My Fit Life, on the inside, and never faltered, never failed with it, and refused to go to anybody that didn't want her to take our stuff. And today, like we just got the thing 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whatever, that she's cancer free. Like it's like amazing things could happen if you just put the right stuff inside of you, and then are willing to take control of your health, like she did, like John's doing, like he did, and is continuing to do, because it's a lifetime process, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, man, we're basically at the point now where we're buying our groceries like on the black market. We can't go to the market. We have to go find a farmer that hasn't been bought out or put out of business yet. We don't want things injected into our food that, they're trying to inject into us, right? I mean, we got to stay away from all that shit, right? And so it's difficult. And, that's why, just like Lisa did, when, if I got issues, man, I go to you, right? You're my doctor, because I know you'll fix me up. And so yeah, I mean, people need to understand that you don't just go the extra mile. You do weird stuff that no one else even probably thought of. I mean, the glass that you buy from Germany, doesn't allow light in it. I mean, all these things that you do that go the extra mile on all of your products, and that, you move to an environment with dry weather so that you don't have to put any fillers in any of your products. I mean, no one else does that. You're just an amazing guy.
Yeah. It's I do go the extra mile, and like you were saying for yourself, I don't really think of it as anything. I just think of it as what is supposed to be done. Like just like with there's what I was saying about the climate thing. Like with the MSM, that there's certain things that you have to include into the powder or the flakes when you're going to encapsulate it, that because it'll cake up the machine if you're in like California, or especially a super humid like Florida or something like that. So we don't use anything else but MSM. There's no excipients or things to make it, like go through the machine better or anything like that. So, so we just use pure MSM. So we're in Arizona, the driest climate, so it can be run through. You just slow the machine down, so it's not as productive per hour or whatever for the amount of bottles you would do. But it gets you the purest friggin' MSM that's in capsules, period. Because almost 100% of the other MSM out there that's in capsules has some kind of additive in there to make it not kick up the machines, because it's done at other houses. All our stuff is done in house, and that's the reason why. It's because you never know what's going on in those other places and what they're adding in to make their life easier, right? Because I can go to co-packers, I can go to all the other things, and not have to manage and do a bunch of other things, and have a little bit easier of a life. But overseeing all that makes sure that it's pristine. I never have to second guess it, and neither do our clients, and I don't have to have any surprises, of this batch being bad or something like that, because we oversaw it all, we quality controlled it, we tested it, in the third party labs and all that kind of stuff, and then put it out to market.
Yeah. And then, like a real life story. And this was like so Al, because you've never cut a corner in your life, and you never will. And it's awesome because you're the only human being that I know that I can say that no matter what. And when you first were losing your vision and you got it back through, all the stuff you were doing and taking and making, and after a couple of months, your vision started breaking up again. And we were talking, and I'm like, Al, I mean, that's amazing that you actually reached this point. I mean, this is a good thing. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you'll figure it out. You're like, nah, man, I figured it out. Something's wrong. Someone's doing something they're not supposed to do. And you got in your car half blind and drove halfway across the country to find out what was going on. You got it corrected, and then you were back on track again. And ever since then, man, you've been just going forward. But, you knew that you were right. Someone else was doing something bad, and that was awesome. I mean, that was amazing that you would go to those lengths, and you did. And looking at you, you're successful. You can still see, you drive. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was I always forget about that, but that was hellacious, because it was like either I'm done, this stuff it doesn't work for me anymore, or they're fucking up because whatever, and that's what was happening is they were modifying the formulations and making them quote unquote better, and people don't understand, you don't mess with health, and it's not like it's not an object, or or even or it's not alcohol that you're partying with. It's something that people depend on for their health. It's a super serious thing, and that's when we brought it completely in house, because at that point, like I had gone through like 26 different extraction companies, and I was like, just screw this, man.
That was a wild time, man.
I deal direct with the farmers already, just because I have to make sure that they're doing stuff right, from the seed to the soil to everything else, and I even walk the farms and make sure that I don't see any pesticide stuff laying around or whatever, because they're certified organic and all that kind of stuff. But you just always need to make sure, and so may as well just do it, because we extract the RSO and the THC products, may as well extract the CBD products as well, and in house, and we do the formulations for everything already, because that's me. I created all the formulations. So yeah, that was a special time, and like, because it's not fun when I lose my eyesight. It's not like it starts to go, and it starts to go quickly, and it sucks, and I go into crazy migraines as well. And then it's not just like, oh, I got my stuff back and my eyesight is back. It took me like 2 years just to get back to where I was from that point. So I was pissed off at those guys, and I was going through pain and suffering. I mean, I had never been in the snow, and all of a sudden it started snow blizzard, and I'm half blind, and it was fucking crazy, man. But I was like, do I really have to go through this? What's going on here, you know? Today, you know, it's one of those things, you know, where we've helped, you know, thousands of people, and I've had to overcome some stupid stuff, you know, that at least I feel it's stupid, you know, but I've learned a lot because of that, you know, personally, and then the thousands of case studies, you know, that we just able to plug people into our protocols now. You know, and people have like an easier life than what the journey that I had.
Yeah, that's what I want people to know that are like part of your program, what you went through, because that year was crazy, man. You fell off a ladder, almost died. You went blind, then you got your stuff back, and then you started growing like horns out of your forehead because all the crystallization was breaking up, and you had stuff oozing out of your head. No one could understand what was going on. People thought you were dying, and you were still running a gym for, like, you know, old people like us, and trying to be, joyful and welcoming at the same time, you know, having these horrible headaches and trying to figure out where your stuff was. And man, that was the craziest time, but man, thank God you got through it. And, you know, this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like most people don't know about that forehead part, you know, it's weird. But when I got back from Colorado, because that's where I had to go to, you know, as I said, halfway across the country from Long Beach. And, you know, when I got back, I just started taking a bunch, you know, of RSO and the high CBD version. And I just started going like bananas with it. And because like I wasn't getting my eyesight, I thought, man, I'm fucked. I'm done. You know, I'm going to stay at this low level. Like I was, you know, like there was some days where I couldn't see, and it was really screwed. And then I was like, man, I'm doing it a little different than way back years, because it was almost a decade at that time that I had gotten my eyesight back. And I remember I did a macro doses back then. So I said, fuck it. Boom. Just macro dose that shit. And I started getting these bumps and on my forehead, and I looked like a character from Star Trek or something, you know? And then all of a sudden, like, it started to like get like scabby, and I think it's like somebody rubbed my forehead across the pavement, and I was like, people were like, "Oh my God, what the hell's going on with you?" Like, and I go to order stuff at the store, and I don't want to put gauze on it because I don't want to block anything. I made videos about it saying, I know this looks bad, but I know what's going on. Things are restructuring and blah, blah, blah. And that's actually what was happening. Thank God. Right. But people were just like, I'm ordering my Starbucks, and, you know, like, they're like, but my God, I want to go to the hospital, like now, you know, and people that love me are just like, oh my God, Al's dying and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, I was doing a nightclub at the time, because I was doing this thing called Movida Nights, just for community, and
Right.
and there were Megan, the producer, was, you know, do the documentary, and so she's following me around with a camera, and all this like clear fluids like leaking out, and it's getting caked in. And the only reason it's not going into my eyes is because my eyebrows are taking it, and my eyebrows are getting caked up with this shit. And I'm, hey guys, like greeting everybody at the door, you know, like yeah. So life was interesting. It's thinking back to that, like life's much better right now.
Yeah, that was chaotic, man. I remember my little sister and my mom saw you, and they've known you, you know, since we were in high school. And they're like, John, you got to get him to the doctors, man. There's something wrong. And I go, you know what? He knows what he's doing. I mean, I'm not going to get in his way. I mean, I dressed out, and you did. I mean, that was a crazy year, man. But like, look at how much stuff you learned that year. And then after that, how many people you've helped. I mean, I've gone to multiple kind of like tutorials or little conferences that you put on, and so many people have just stood up with like bags of prescription medicine bottles and just say, look, I was taking all of this. This is what I took every day, like 20 different types of medicine. And all I take now is what I get from Al. And, you know, that's incredible. So you got like people that, you know, not just your eyesight, but you got people lives depending on you. And I know that people have said, hey, what happened, Al, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to me? So we got to keep you around for a long time.
Yeah. I had to get used to that one. I remember like my clients, they were like, because I was like, man, I'm, like blah blah blah. I got this stuff going on. They're like, well, what happens if you die? What happens to me? Like they weren't really worried about me. Like they were worried about themselves. It was like because like they've just tried everything. They've tried other CBD. They tried other everything. And they didn't get the results, and they only get it with this.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm taking care of myself as best as I can, and continuing to help people. Like, you've been around, we've helped well over 10,000. We're probably going upwards of 20,000 people now, that have gone through, our programs, just the programs, not to mention the products and stuff like that, So
Right.
it's a really satisfying journey, and I really, I don't really like what I had to go through to get here, but I do appreciate the fact that I'm on this because I understand health different than most people, and I think I have success because of that, and the people sticking around like you, and like there's people that have been like I started in 1987, we have over a dozen people that started in 1987 that are still with us now, that still continue to continue to do the programs and do everything. It's just part of them, and it's super awesome just to see that, it's like I've grown up, like their kids have kids now. It's badass.
Yeah, it's like you're the best kept secret in the world. I mean, if people just, and what's great is that if someone contacts you, you don't just send them a pamphlet or something. You talk to them and you find out, what's going on, how can I help you? And that's just amazing, that you take the time for each person. You don't just give them some, blanket recipe like, hey, yeah, take this and you send me another check in a month and I'll send you some more crap. You get in there and you find out what's up with them and you adjust, whatever they're doing. And you're like a doctor without being a doctor, right? I mean, you're better than a doctor because you actually fix these people. So people need to understand that. I mean, you are the best kept secret in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. We don't advertise, or anything like that, and we do, like I said, we have thousands of case studies. We have protocols built out for, almost any kind of ailment, and ways to go about trying to get healthy. And then, we don't claim to cure anything, but we do help people to get healthy. And then that as they get more towards health, then those ailments that they had just magically sort of disappear, and it's the way that we've had success, instead of just trying to, treat these symptoms, we go to the root cause of what's going on, and go to like the original health of the human, and just get that vibrance within them, get the energy flowing, like that life force energy that the Shilajit talks about, and the mitochondrial function that it helps with, and people just get healthy on their own from it, and they're doing it. We're like the people like steering the ship or whatever, but they're doing the work, and taking this stuff daily and doing all the other stuff they need to do, because our stuff, it's a tool in the toolbox, but there's other things you need to be mindful. You can't just go party and do whatever else you want to. You
Right.
need to do things that are healthful as well, to support what you're doing with the supplements. You have to do with the food, exercise, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I do appreciate the journey, and I appreciate you, being part of it, because like you said, like it doesn't sound like a big deal, but we've been friends since high school, and how many, and we're 58. Like we just had like our 40-year reunion,
Yes,
and
we've been friends for 44 years.
yeah, it's crazy, and not everybody, like business owners, just period, know that friends don't always go to that person, no matter how good they are, because they still remember that person back in high school or whatever, that
Yeah.
kind of a thing. So when somebody that I've known for a long time actually, is like you, like actually is part of the community too, it really means a lot to me. So thank you a lot for that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you said, man, we were the biggest knuckleheads in high school, right? And the fact that now you're someone that I looked at as an authority, it's like, I've always looked at you that way. Even though we were, going crazy driving around in your old yellow truck, I still looked at you as someone that I could depend on. So that means a lot.
Right on, right on. That's awesome. And I think that's a good way to conclude the show. Like, thank you for coming on, John. And I really appreciate you taking the time because I know you're super busy.
Oh, sure. Anytime, Al. Anytime you need me, I'm here.
Right on. So that concludes this episode of the Health Freedom Show, where knowledge is power and health is wealth. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help spread the good word in alternative and holistic health. I am Al Morenton, your host. I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace. All right. Let me end the stream here. All right.